My people, breaking news, it has finally happened that American President Donald Trump has finally tagged Nigeria as a country of particular concern over the Christians. Yes, on his social handle on the 31st of October 2025, this is what he wrote. Listen as I read. Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter. I am hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern, but this is not the least of it. When Christians or any such group is slaughtered like is happening in Nigeria, something must be done. I am asking Congressman Rule Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House of Appropriation Committee, to immediately look into this matter and report back to me. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christians population all over the world. This is what Donald Trump, posted on his social handle media. Of course, some people will be asking, what are the consequences of this? Yes, there are a lot of consequences. For instance, selling of arms to Nigeria will be restricted, visa restrictions to those politicians that have been investigated to have hand, directly or indirectly, against this genocide and massacre of Christians in Nigeria, and of course, seizure of some of their properties in America. Yes, some of their properties will be confiscated for keeping quiet or directly sponsoring terrorism against the Christians in Nigeria. This is some of the restriction or some of the consequences, that we are looking at. Now, Dubera Bati and his crew in Arise Television, you are going to listen to what they have said. What Ruben Abati said, I'm actually surprised that Ruben can sit down there saying that, Americans are Tom Cruise, the senator that is propagating this bill, has blown a lot of things out of proportion. Ruben, is it because it has not touched you? Why are you talking like this? I, in particular, why my parents left the North was because, because of this spying, killing, we would have all been dead by now. If not by the mercy of God, we escaped and we ran away. And you sit down there saying that they are blowing things out of proportion while innocent people are being massacred for nothing. Ruben, I'm disappointed in you. By the way, thank you, Rufai Hussaini. In fact, you spoke very well. Yes, you stood by the truth on that station. Let me not go into this much. I want you to sit down and listen to all the analysis in this Arise Television. As we watch together, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you actually love this video, thank you as you do that.
Cruz has accused the Tinubu administration of being very unhappy with him for bringing the topic of the reported killings of Christian genocide in Nigeria to the forefront, including the proposed legislation to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Cruz made the comments on an episode of his podcast on Wednesday, with the senator saying that too many leaders in Nigeria have turned a blind eye to what is happening in the country. Let's take a look.
Been very vocal, calling out the mass murder of Christians. Over 50,000 Christians have been murdered in Nigeria since 2009. Over 20,000 churches and schools have been destroyed, burned to the ground. And you have Boko Haram and other radical Islamic terrorist groups that are targeting and persecuting Christians in particular. And I will tell you, the government of Nigeria is very unhappy with me. They have decried my saying this. I have introduced legislation to designate them a country of special concern. And the government of Nigeria is very unhappy. And I've said, look, there are far too many government leaders who have turned a blind eye to what is happening, who have acquiesced in what is happening, who are enforcing either Sharia laws or blasphemy laws and facilitating the persecution of Christians. And as I said, the Nigerian government has been vigorously resisting me in this.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, spoke with CNN on Tuesday, accusing Ted Cruz of relying on inaccurate and misleading data to allege a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Idris said that such claims fail to reflect the complexity of the country's security challenges and warned that spreading such claims unknowingly supports criminals whose main aim is to stir religious tension. Let's take a look.
Some of the claims made by some officials in the United States based on faulty data. Some of them, some assumptions that the victims of this religious violence are largely Christian. Yes, there are Christians that have been attacked, but these, criminals do not just target one religion. They target Christians. Yeah. They also target Muslims.
Try to cover up the truth. The truth will still be there, staring and glaring at you. I don't know what we gain by trying to lie when people are being buy like chicken. We're on top line for what? What do we stand to gain? Of course, in any war, there must be collateral damage. Of course, Muslims are also key, but that is on collateral damage. Yes, on a collateral damage. And of course, some of those Muslims that doesn't agree on their ideology, yes, they buy them. But of course, we all know that their target is on Christians. They have come out openly and warned that Christians should leave the north. The worlds are not blind. Now, Haba, the world are not blind. American and the world are seeing everything. When Deborah was burnt alive in Sokoto, is he hidden? Even they came out jubilating over it, that they've killed an infidel. I don't know what we're trying to achieve by trying to, to hide what will save us. When you open up the truth, we know how to protect, future occurrences. But you see, people will stand there be lying while people will be buying for nothing.
We have seen that in several parts of, especially the northern part of the country. So yes, indeed, we have security challenges in Nigeria, but we also have to recognize that there is a massive drive by government to ensure that Nigeria is ultimately safe for everyone. But for the records, we want to say that Nigeria is a very tolerant country when it comes to religion. We don't want these dangerous narratives to go on because criminal elements and some of these extremists are driving this narrative and pushing people to believe that Nigerian Muslims and Christians are fighting each other. This is not the case.
All right, once again, Dr. Bati, we are seeing how this issue has grown to becoming one of global importance, that a senator seems to be following developments on this topic locally. The question now is how to address religious persecution in Nigeria. The minister is emphasizing that, characterizing the attacks as being against Christians alone will drive Nigeria towards unnecessary division, noting that, criminals want to portray the situation as a fight between Christians and Muslims. And that's about the most important soundbite I got from that interview with Mohammed Idris, talking about the fact that this idea of a Christian genocide is actually fueling the terrorists more. Your thoughts?
Okay, there's a disconnect in the global information world order. That's what it is called, whereby you have the Western media having a mindset about, what is categorized as the third world. And in the case of Nigeria, what sells in the American media will be to say, North versus South in Nigeria, Christians versus Muslims. This has been the trope over the years, and which is why we often commend the efforts of, African-based media like Arise News in trying to tell the story of Africa from a different perspective, to say that it is not as bleak as the Western media tries to portray it. In other words, I'm saying that the kind of narrative that you are finding within the American media in recent times fits into that narrative of Africa as the dark continent, where there is religious war, where there is ethnic division, and all of that. And I guess that, it's important that the Minister of Information of Nigeria is trying to counter this narrative by saying that, look, there may be issues. Our own position is that there are issues with security, with welfare in Nigeria, just as they have similar issues in the United States or elsewhere, even in England, where they are dealing with issues of integrity, and the royal family has been dragged into it. So we have our own issues here in Nigeria, but it's not a situation whereby on the streets of Nigeria, Christians are fighting Muslims on a daily basis. The problem is one of Boko Haram, as one of the commentators pointed out, of insurgency and banditry. And what government says is that it is continuing to deal with it. We were once placed on the Department of State's, U.S. Department of State's country of particular concern in terms of religious freedom. Now, at another time, we were reconsidered. We were removed from that list. But it looks like there are some people who are saying, look, Nigeria must go back onto that list of country of particular concern. When Bishop Matthew Azam Kuka, the bishop of the Catholic diocese, intervened in the matter, some people began to attack him, saying that, he was saying that, look, he lives in the heartland of Islamic religion,
yes,
Sokoto, and it's not as if Nigerians and Muslims are fighting themselves. But like other countries, we have these issues, and government is dealing with these issues. I think this narrative calls for a moment when we should be, patriotic and say that our country is not a country where Christians and Muslims are openly fighting.
All right.
But we have issues in terms of unity, in terms of the centrifugal forces, and, government just needs to wake up to its responsibility, because no country can survive a civil war twice. No country can survive a religious war.
All right.
And it should not be the objective for patriotic persons in this country to try to instigate and to look for a blowout war between Christians and Muslims.
All right, they're asking us to go to the next story, but you're quickly.
Okay, real quickly. Nobody's saying that we want, we don't love our country. We love our country, but loving our country also means us to tell the truth. Oji, I said yesterday, a pastor in Kaduna came out to say a lot of people were killed. It was reported in the papers. This is not Ted Cruz reporting this.
No, we are reporting the killings.
This is what
we
we
have
are
been
reporting
reporting,
here.
yes.
Oji, a child born in 2009, when all of this started, will be 16 getting ready for university today. We are sitting down here. Yes, we don't want our country to be put on country of concern list. But when will our government solve this problem, Oji? Is it because all of us here, none of us, our relatives have been killed?
Or even directly affected.
Maybe when people that are close to us are directly affected, we will know that it is time to speak up for these people. Oji, these killings must stop, and the government has done nothing about it. They've just been giving marching orders to the military, and it has increased. Look at bodies being buried. Look at pastors being threatened. So who are those threatening those pastors?
All right.
As regards Father Kuka, this is what I have against him. I can only say this today. When Deborah was killed and people raised eyebrow, what happened afterwards? Didn't people go on rampage and protest? Didn't they release those that killed Deborah? Didn't it lead to burning of churches and religious houses in Sokoto then? So why are we deceiving ourselves that these things don't happen?
Yes,
Let's say the truth.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't affect us. We are here to speak for people. That's why God put us here.
Yeah.
And God will ask us questions.
What we're saying is that it's not
That's
that
just
Christians are being targeted. Muslims are also being targeted.
Yeah, this is the point
We
that
have a
But
country
Christians are killed.
in which we are all living in a pressure cooker situation.
Right.
The responsibility of government is to make this country safe for all of us.
Have they done
And that's why we say government needs to do more.
We should not since over 10 years.
We should desist from inflaming ethnic
Nobody's
or religious
inflaming
passion.
anything.
And I think
Things are
that's the
happening
right
against
point.
Christians.
Disease from inflaming ethnic passions. Like what the minister has said, the fact that the terrorists are fueling this whole idea and continuing to benefit from the narrative that it's only a Christian genocide. Muslims are also being killed, and we have also seen mass graves of Christians being buried. Now, we have charged the federal government on this table to stop the killings. That's really all we are asking. Stop the killings. We'll take another story now. Nigerians on social media have revived the hashtag Justice for Ochanya. In the wake of the 7th anniversary of the death of Ochanya Elizabeth Ogbanje, the 13-year-old schoolgirl from Benue State who died on October 17, 2018, after allegedly suffering years of sexual assault that left her with viscovaginal fistula, a severe medical condition. But before her death, Ochanya narrated how she endured 5 years of continuous abuse by her uncle, Andrew Ogbuja, and his son, Victor Ogbuja, while living with them.
I was 5 years old. I went to my mother's sister's house to school because there was no school in my village. So when I went there, when I was 8, the son started sleeping with me. Then when the sister caught him, the sister then reported him to the father. Then the father scolded at him, and that was when the father started. So September, when I went to school, I came, but I was not feeling fine, so I came back home. I went to Federal Medical Center in Makurdi here. I spent 2 months and 5 days there, so they discharged us. When I now came home, then that was when I told my mother that when I was in my uncle's house, my uncle and his son, they were sleeping with me.
Oh, may your soul continue to rest in peace. Despite that video evidence, the Benue State High Court in April 2022 acquitted her uncle, Andrew Ogbuja, of rape and causing her death, citing lack of DNA evidence and contradictory autopsy reports. However, on the same day, the Federal High Court convicted his wife for negligence and sentenced her to 5 months in prison for failing to protect the child. Her son, Victor Ogbuja, reportedly fled before arrest and remains at large and is set to be pursuing a music career in Lagos. The Benue State High Court has officially reopened the case following renewed public pressure and a Change.org petition with over 10,000 signatures and celebrity involvement. The Benue State Ministry of Justice confirmed the case had been reopened, citing fresh applications filed by government prosecutors based on new grounds and renewed evidence. Viscovaginal fistula, we know what it is. It's an abnormal opening between the bladder and vagina, causing, uncontrollable urine leakage. While most cases develop from prolonged labor without skilled medical care, tragic instances like Ochanya's case can result from sexual violence and repeated physical trauma. I wanted to just highlight really what she suffered for months in a hospital before her passing. I mean, the police or the autopsy report had revealed that she might have died from natural causes. I think that's one of the reasons that they said that they acquitted her uncle. But what about the son, who they say is at large at this moment in Lagos, pursuing a music career? I believe that you, before the segment, you interviewed her older brother. Please, your thoughts on this story.
Okay, so thank you. And Oji, this is such an emotive story, and it's very difficult to not take to not feel the pain that Ochanya and her family must have gone through in the last few years. And I'm glad that finally, hopefully, justice will be served in this case, because a lot of people tried, I must say, when this case first came to public light. Now, the brother has said that there was a lot of intimidation and threats to the family when they tried to seek justice in the courts. We've also seen now that, thankfully, the Benue State government has reopened the case based on fresh evidence and, of course, responding to public advocacy. And so we will follow the case and see how this goes through. Hopefully, this time, the son, that's her cousin, Victor, would be made to come and answer for the role that he played. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to capture Ochanya's voice, telling the experience of what happened or what transpired. That hopefully should be should act as evidence in this new case. Court, yeah. I know when it comes to rape and sexual abuse, it's often argued as to how difficult it is to prove, because there has to be some medical proof and the likes. And so sometimes the case can be drawn out if we're speaking legally. But in terms of the face of it, I'm hoping that there will be a more thorough investigation and all those culpable will be brought to book. But even more than that, Oji, because we have a lot of Ochanyas in Nigeria, is how can we prevent this from happening? When you look at that, then we look at all those who can be said to be complicit. There's a culture of silence and disgrace on the victim rather than the perpetrators, where the victim is told to keep quiet. In this case, Ochanya was said to have been told that she was threatened by the man and his son, that if she speaks out about this, then she would be, they would kill her family. And we hear many young people talk about this. So those who protect the perpetrators, the auntie herself, who as a wife and a mother shielded her husband and her son from facing. The sister who was said to have reported the case in the first instance to her dad. Neighbors who might have observed something but chose to look away. OJ, we see this a lot of times happening. In other parts of the world, we see responsibility by neighbors who call the attention of police and security operatives when they notice something onto what's happening with their neighbors. Why do the neighbors keep quiet? The schools. If you are a school and you notice a difference in a child coming to school, you should raise an alarm. Relatives, other religious institutions. The man is a knight of a religious organization. I'm glad that they've now come out to say that he's been suspended. But why didn't they take action before this renewed call was made? He remained a knight until 7 years later when the Justice for China came out. The police and other those complices. It reminds me, finally, of the case that happened in Lagos, and I keep bringing it because this is where justice was served. Yes. In the case of Adegboye Adeneko, who defiled a 2-year-old in his school. He was a supervisor in the school. And because of the Lagos State Special Offences Court, he was able to be brought to book, and the school tried to protect him. And this is why he said that those who are complicit should also answer for this. There are many Ochanyas in Nigeria. I hope and I pray that we will not fail our next generation of both girls and boys by taking action and ensuring that justice is served.
Dr. Abati, 2 questions, please. I know you want to add your comment. Can this video serve as evidence and the fact that, the case had been tried before?
Thank you for mentioning the matter evidence. There's no statute of limitation with regard to criminal cases. Rape is a criminal case. It's felony under, the laws of Nigeria. I think Section 256. But the problem is how you provide the evidence. The Edward Oguja, I think that's the Andrew Oguja. He was able to escape because they said the case could not be proven beyond reasonable doubt. For more than 20 years, civil society groups have been arguing that section of the Evidence Act has to be reviewed because the Evidence Act in Nigeria, with regard to rape, talks about proof. Yes. And the proof is so embarrassing. They will have to say you come and prove penetration, that the person escaped into the internal anatomy of the female Homo sapien beyond the labia majora. Who is going to prove that? How are you going to prove that? Section 211 of the Evidence Act also says, look, the accused person can interrogate the victim to defend her conduct. Yes. Not to say that she's the one who has been enticing them. That's the madness that you have in the law. We have to take a second look at that. We have to take a second look at how to enforce the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act. We have to take a look at the Child Rights Act and its proper enforcement. It's because all of that, is not in place. That's why you will have the criminals, the accused persons, that's the proper word. That's the man himself and the son. That's why they could escape. And it's the woman that will get the lighter sentence of 5 months that she was negligent. No child, no daughter, no young girl should be abused in this country. Well said. Nobody should be subjected to sexual violence. Well said. And that is the point that we should make. Well so the state can revisit the matter. There's no statute of limitation with criminal matters. And I was telling the gentleman that came on the program, John Ame, that the family too can sue for damages. All right. Very well said, Dr. After all, they are the ones who have lost their loved ones. Very well said. While the rapists are walking free.
Thank you for that. Well, I hope that this case will set a precedence for the justice system on how to try rape cases. Justice for Ochanya. We'll take our next story here in Lagos, where tensions were high on Thursday after military personnel allegedly collaborating with agents from the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration were captured on video seizing goods from traders at the Trade Fair International Market. In the video, as the seizure unfolded, traders gathered to defend their businesses, which ultimately turned into a protest. Let's take a look.
Trade of October 2025. The NAFDAC,
how many Black Maria have we ever? 5 Black Marias. Blue in a nambada on a full truck and a bada. Of a butro but in mafia. I am Maria Mendia.
Happening in BBA now, NAFDAC They carry soldiers, armored car.
This market,
Rufai, this was unfortunate. This video, has triggered a lot of conversation online with people asking why certain goods were targeted for seizure, while others wondered why the military seemed to have been deployed in this situation just to seize goods from ordinary citizens. And that's the rhetoric online. Why was the military deployed for this operation? We're yet to see a statement from, NAFDAC at this moment. Because of time, I wouldn't take the tweets, so you can...
Simple, because if government forces, the authorities want to believe people, it's the military they use because they think that the military will bring in more brute force. See, we are not saying that NAFDAC shouldn't do the enforcement job. Please, there are two different angles to that. You can go and do your enforcement job, but the way you do it also matters a great deal. I don't know how the conundrum ended in Anambra when we had the NAFDAC conundrum and seizing of goods, and they said they went to pay money in the back, and they said they collected money from some people. God knows how that ended. Now we are seeing this again. So we are not saying NAFDAC do not do your enforcement, but it is the way you go about it that matters. You going out there, seizing goods and all of that. Anyway, we'd like to hear NAFDAC's reaction to it before we can get a more rounded feel on it.
This is
because, you see, NAFDAC will now come out and say, oh, we're seizing the contraband goods and everything. But the question is, the military going in there, harassing people? It just smacks of the military regime and military era. And that's why the kind of country we live in, and that's why we complain every time.
Yes. I mean, this is really unfortunate, this incident that occurred. But we would continue to follow up on the story. I'm sure that NAFDAC will release a statement because we shouldn't be having the military involved in this. Am I correct, Dr. Abati? Should we be having the military in this sort of operation, seizing medication and counterfeit drugs? Isn't it the police? Isn't it the job of the police to accompany? These are the issues.
Look,
but
a section of the Constitution says that the military can be called in aid of civil protection.
Right.
But they are not supposed to take over the work of the police.
All right, very
well.
Thank you.
NDLA, they've been saying to fight these drug people and all that, they have a program, whether it's in Onitsha or it is in a trade fair or elsewhere. However, what we must insist upon is that they must follow due process.
Well said.
And must be fair in producing, pursuing the mandate. And also,
let's take this story now. It's my Friday story. I was going to take Natasha, inviting Akpabio and the Senate to come for her, what did she invite them for again? For her constituency project, solving the problem now. I mean, the problem is solved, isn't it? It looks like she's inviting She even said congratulations to him.
You can invite your fellow senators to come and, fix your, see how you do your project.
All right.
Prior to this time, she invites other senators and all that. But they still have a lot of cases in court.
But it seems like it's better now at this point. But the fact that she's actually you are fighting for.
No, but I don't think so. I mean, I say facts. I don't think.
I like the
if it was better,
I wish we had time to take this out of court. I think it's better. But let's take this story now. Nicholas Ukachukwu, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the forthcoming Anambra election, has been trending online after granting a live television interview where he attempted to critique the Soludo administration over worsening insecurity in Anambra State. The politician, however, was pointedly asked about the increasing rate of baby factories and illegal adoption rings in the state. But he went on to describe how his own factories have been shut down due to insecurity. Let's take a look. Factories have been shut down due to insecurity. Let's take a look.
I've also heard of the increasing rate of baby factories in Anambra State, and there are fresh incidents of violence and encroachment on farmlands. First, what is your assessment of the rising cases of baby factories and illegal adoption rings in Anambra State?
Oh, honestly, let me tell you this. I see things in national television, and some can say it's not true. Nobody have more number of factories in Anambra State than myself and my family. And on that note, I'm telling you right now, I can't remember in recent times once telling you that many industries sprang up in Anambra State. No, insecurity had killed manufacturers. Yeah, as a matter of fact, my factory is under lock key because they now my 6 expatriates. And then the rest, I used to have 70 some of the expatriates working for me. The place is under lock and key. The aluminum cementing company was supposed to, bring to stream for the past few years. I have not. We lock it down because we cannot be able to run it. The Radisson Hotel there in Anambra State belongs to us also.
All right.
So what authority says that we love Anambra State, we're investing there. But what nobody can tell you that people are taking over because the factory are struggling.
The anchor was completely shocked, Dr. Abati Ayo-Rufai. This video cracked me up. They asked you about baby factory, and this is what happens when all you want to do is pull down. That is that pull down.
Yeah.
Since this all he came to do, Dr. Abati, quickly.
See, many years back, we used to say, it shall be well with Anambra. When Anambra State was facing serious political crisis. I think we have reached a crossroads now where ahead of the November 8th election, we should just be praying, it shall be well with Anambra. Yesterday, we had a gubernatorial candidate on this program who said Anambra people should vote for the nigger.
Rise for the nigger.
We have another candidate also from Anambra who is more celebrated for her looks rather than anybody paying attention to...
Yes, plenty factories.
They asked him about baby factories and illegal adoption. This man that they call the Ukukoma of Ndumbo, he came and said he has been building factories and all that. Is that the question? And I thought the anchor, before throwing to the break, would say, please, Your Excellency, to be, will be. Because when they become governor, they become excellency. She should have asked him that, do you even understand the question?
Yes, she was.
Do you know anything about illegal adoption?
And that was such an important question.
Factory?
Yes.
She just said, we'll throw to break. I thought she was even going to laugh.
No, she must have cracked up the way we all did.
Okay, let's throw to break. Because this level of ignorance, but it is, as I've said, it is up to the people of Anambra to make their choice. If they like, let them vote for somebody who doesn't know the difference between factory and baby factory and illegal adoption.
I'm not a fan.
Are you saying
he came for a purpose? That's what he did.
They become governor, they become excellency. She should have asked him that, do you even understand the question?
Yes, she was.
Do you know anything about illegal adoption?
And that was such an important question.
Factory?
Yes.
She just said, we'll throw to break. I thought she was even going to laugh.
No, she must have cracked up the way we all did.
Okay, let's throw to break. Because this level of ignorance, but it is, as I've said, it is up to the people of Anambra to make their choice. If they like, let them vote for somebody who doesn't know the difference between factory and baby factory and illegal adoption.
I'm not a fan.
Are you saying?
He came for a purpose. That's what he did.
He has not yet come out to defend himself to say he could not hear properly. So on the face of it, yes, we want to give him the benefit of the doubt that it's because he didn't hear. On the face of it, he was asked a question about baby factories, which is a big deal, and a big issue in Anambra State. In fact, this Governor Soludo's administration has tried to crack down on these baby factories. But he went ahead, all he had was factories. And an opportunity to talk about what Soludo has not done well. But I think, very quickly, this is the importance of holding them accountable and having interviews like that pre-elections. But at the end of the day, like Dr. Basi mentioned, debates. Yes, they need to come out and talk about their ideas. Let us hear what their ideas are. Then, very importantly, that the voters will not be induced by money, but vote the best person for the job.
About foreign exchange, he will tell you how much dollar he has in the bank.
Do you know who I would like to see in an Anambra debate? The nigga.
By the way, he's a self-styled N-word. He's one that came and that's his campaign slogan.
The nigga.
But you know the thing is that if people, let INEC just let the people's will be done. If you like Eweke, if you like the factory owner, also it's up to you.
Kingsley.
He's from Anambra.
Kingsley is our producer. He's from Anambra, yes.
He shall be
Okachukwu must have thought that he had factory, not knowing that the question thrown to him was actually baby factory. Nobody's above mistake. No matter how we try to subdue the truth will always stand the test of time. This is my belief. Even though that the world is full of lies, that this is what the world live on. But no matter what, the truth will always stand the test of time. If you're among those that are subduing the truth, what you're trying, to hide will surely caught up with you one way or the other for you to suffer the pain and agony of the innocent. Please, this is the end of this video. Do you like it? Do well to like, share, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.